Hello, and welcome to Shooting the Bull. I'm Justin.
And I'm Ross.
And we are actually down one today. Ariana is sick, and I do believe I am the one who gave it to her.
Yeah.
I believe I passed on a little bit of my fungus over to her. Fungus. I was trying to put it in a really gross way, because I'm sure she would love the idea of me, like
spores
on her, like me getting...
Fungus is a pretty
right
good
now,
way to go.
Ariana's got like 35% Justin spores inside her. I'm sure she just threw up at that idea.
Those little like spiky balls in the commercials. Someone caught you, those little spiky balls go flying.
They went right into her and she got all sick. So yeah, I think I gave her that one. I'm still feeling a little...
Under the weather?
It's not as bad. I just got like a little cough every now and again, and you can see my voice still isn't back to what it was, but it was nothing like it was last week when I was on the show, because I was guzzling down water as much as I could. What have you been up to since
the debates?
Since the debates, what you been up to?
I've been enjoying all of the moves Trump's been making, explaining why he lost, and then why he won. He kept going back and forth.
He thought he won for a little bit, and then he was explaining that that his microphone was broken.
Yeah, his microphone was broken.
Which they did say that the debate people did put out a statement saying that audio in the auditorium was a little different.
Yeah,
but
on the TV, we all got.
Yeah, we heard. Yeah, we heard everything he said.
Well, that was the thing that was confusing me. It was like, even if the audio was screwed up, like, we heard what you said.
Yeah.
The problem people have is what you said.
Yeah. Not the microphone.
Not the microphone.
It would have been doing him a favor, really, if the thing would have been working.
Yeah.
What do you think of the
sniffing, though?
Oh, I love the sniffing.
He was blaming that. Yeah. He was saying that it kept picking up him breathing. Which, I mean, I'll give him that. Like, I don't even care enough about it to contest it, but still, that wasn't
Maybe he's just got a loud... breathe. I don't know, like, how do you say? Maybe he's just a loud breather.
A loud breather, he could be.
Yeah, maybe he just does that. What did you think of his tweets at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Those were
about the Miss Pageant lady being Miss Piggy.
They were great.
He told us to go watch porn. Yeah,
yeah, they were horrible for the world, but they were great for Trump.
They were,
because he's running against himself. Almost.
Yeah.
You know, he really is.
He's trying to beat himself.
It's like he's trying to beat Clinton, and he's trying to beat another like form of him that is sabotaging himself.
It's glorious. So I saw Mars, which we might actually have to be moving there if Trump wins. Is actually the technology to get us to Mars is vastly approaching. And I think I saw somewhere the first flights could take place in 5 years heading to Mars, which a ticket to get your ass on that seat is $10 billion.
You have to pay for it?
You do.
I thought they were... Well, the only thing I know about this is the that like Mars One Way project where they were looking for people.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they had to pay.
No, they do not have to pay.
But everyone else does.
I don't know if is that project still going to go through? Because I don't know if that Mars One project... For those of you who don't know what the Mars One project is, they were going around with an application, and in fact, I signed up for it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
I did. I actually signed up for it. I remember I didn't have a job. I didn't have a relationship. And I figured, what the hell?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I saw a documentary on that, and it was kind of like sad. There was a lot of people who were going to Mars to sort of escape.
That's what I was thinking about. Like, when I saw the application, and I was reading it over, and it pretty much did say, you're going out there, you're never coming back.
Yeah, no.
But I thought, being a huge fan of Star Trek, and knowing so much about it, and probably one of the main reasons why I am probably still single, I thought, you know what, this is my chance to go and like live out this like real life Star Trek thing. You know, I mean, I thought I'll be one of the first people to like set foot on Mars and live on Mars.
I mean, yeah, you'll definitely you'll definitely go down as a memorable person.
But I'll tell you what, I did fill out the application. I turned the application in, and then I started thinking about it more, and that quickly became like an idea that I was not really into.
Yeah, and if you did get it, I'm sure you could have been like, well, I don't want to do it.
No,
it's not like you got forced to do it.
That's like none of my favorite TV shows I like to watch. Right. No more pizza.
What would it be like?
No more of that. What, being in there? Well, I see the trip there I think would suck because you'd be stuck in like this tin can the whole time. Yeah. I'm claustrophobic anyway, and I love the outside. I love being outside. Well, you couldn't go outside. I mean, you're inside a spaceship, you know. And it takes 9 months to get to Mars. Yeah. So you're
which is quicker than I would think.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is pretty fast when you think about it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why it has to be why it is 9 months is that if you leave at a certain time, you can hit Mars in a straight line.
Yeah.
To where it was only 9 months, but. But yeah, you'd be cooped up on the ship the entire time. You couldn't really go anywhere. You just live 9 months aboard this vessel.
Yeah.
That I imagine isn't probably too big.
I can't imagine it.
And then you get to a world that you can't go outside in.
Yeah, and that was my thing. It was like, if the thought of being in the ship is so horrible, I imagine that's kind of going to be what it's like on the planet. They're going to create something in those same parameters.
Yeah, because you can't like pop outside for a little stroll.
No, and like the food and stuff that you have to take on the ship, I imagine, is what you'll be eating on the planet as well.
Well, yeah, because I don't think anything grows on that planet.
No, and I don't know.
I don't think you could be able to grow anything on that planet.
But even that, it's like...
Well, I don't know. The guy in The Martian was able to grow stuff using his own poop.
I've still never seen that.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, everybody likes it a lot.
It got like best comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's parts of it that's funny, but...
But it shouldn't be a comedy.
No. It was a good movie, though. But the guy used his own feces and dug out the floor pit to the habitat they were in, so that it exposed the dirt. But since it's an air-controlled thing, he was able to like use his own poop to kind of create fertilizer.
Yeah.
And he was able to grow potatoes. Yeah.
That's cool.
It was cool.
Well, the thing is like, what can you bring? Because the amount of fuel it takes just to get there, you can't. It's not like you can pack a bunch of stuff.
Right, you're going to run out of food eventually.
Yeah,
you're going to have to sort out the food thing quickly.
Yeah, you're going to have to figure out a way to sustain yourself because you can't just bring a lifetime supply of supplies or food, whatever. You can't. I can't imagine you being able to bring that.
Say you're going to Mars, and they said you could only bring 2 things. What would you want to bring?
Oh man, that's a good question.
It is, isn't it? Because I actually thought about this.
Are you allowed that? Is that part of the plan?
I'm not sure. I know you're pretty much allowed to bring kind of what you want within reason. I think they did have a detailed list. This was years ago.
Yeah.
They did have a list. I don't know why I didn't get selected for the thing.
I don't know what
the thing was, but I know I did not get selected. And when I didn't get selected, I wasn't bummed about it. I'll tell you that.
You already regretted signing up
a little bit, but I mean, at the time when I did it, I wasn't in a relationship, and I didn't have like a job or anything. Well, so I figured
in the thing that I saw where they were documenting this, there was a girl who was in a relationship. And that was an interesting discussion because they were talking to her boyfriend, and he was talking about how he wasn't really he obviously wasn't super happy with the idea. And he thought, she's willing to leave this relationship for this other place. And then he said that the way he kind of felt somewhat comfortable with it was that he'd always know that if he was second, he would be second to a planet. And he thought that sort of justified it to a certain extent. Like It wasn't like she left him for someone else. He was
leaving him for a planet.
It came Mars and then him, and I guess that made him feel a little bit better. I don't think it would make me feel better.
No, I don't think I could get over that. I could be like, no, you're not going to Mars,
or just break up.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what he would have done. I mean, she can't expect him to.
That would be my luck. I feel like that'd be my luck. I feel like if I was in a relationship, I'd feel like everything would be going well. I'd be like super happy, And I go up to her and I'm like, "Hey, it's so great to see you." She'd be like, "I got something to tell you." And I'm like, "Oh man, you're gonna tell me you love me, right?" "No, I'm going to Mars."
Going to Mars, and I ain't going back.
And I ain't coming back.
I don't know why it has to be a one-way trip. I feel like that is sort of like something they've enforced just for the sake of doing it.
Well, 2 reasons. One, they might not be able to get them back, and then 2,
I can see that.
I think it is a colonizing mission. I think they are the first. I think the plan is they are the first of many.
I feel like you would have to...
They are just laying the groundwork.
But to properly try to cultivate some kind of society, I feel like it would have to be like thousands of people all at once.
At once?
I can't, because it was only like a dozen people?
Yeah, it's like, it's less than 20.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is like,
yeah.
It just seems like they're just messing about at that point.
They're going out there to, in fact, I think it's more of an experiment, really. I think they're going out there to see what's going to happen to them. I mean, and I think whoever is running this project is fully expecting to send these people to their deaths.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, these people got to know they're not going to make it.
I don't know. See, it's interesting because in the thing that I watched, none of them voiced any concerns about dying. It was all about leaving. So I don't know if that was on their mind. I guess it would. I mean, it certainly would be on mine if I went.
Anytime you go into space, anytime you pop up there, anytime the astronauts pop up there to the space station, they probably.
I never would. I don't even like getting in planes.
I would love to go to space.
I would go to space.
I would love to go to space. That's like something I've always wanted to do.
If going to space, if we ever get to a point where technology is to the point where you can go to space, like for a day trip, like it's that kind of technology, that kind of advancement, then maybe. But like, it's such a ordeal now.
I mean,
I just wouldn't feel safe.
It's kind of like it makes you think back to like 2001: Space Odyssey.
I never saw that.
Like what that movie is trying to convey is that like in space we cannot survive.
Yeah.
Like we are not meant to. Nothing is meant to survive in space.
But it's like, so go back to before humans even made boats.
Okay.
And they're looking at the ocean. I would not want to have been one of the ones who tried that.
That's an interesting thought. I never thought about that, but that, like, for them was their big thing. Like, it probably sucked at first.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like, that was they look at the ocean in the same way we look at outer space going, how can we get over there?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And as advanced as planes are, I mean, I'll still get in one, but I don't really like it.
Yeah.
So if that's how I feel about that, it's just going to space is like that times 1,000.
I would love to do it. I think I would love to do it up until the point I actually did it. You know what I'm saying? I think like right now, like my entire life, I've been like, I have always wanted to go to outer space. Yeah. I love space stuff. I love it. I want to go. I want to see. I want to explore the space.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would say that right up until the point we took off, and I'd be like, I don't want to do this no more. I want to get out.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. But if there was more stuff in space, then I think it'd be worth going. Like,
there's plenty of stuff in space.
No, I mean, like, for us to do, like human-made stuff. Like fast forward, like 3,000 years, right?
They got clubs up in space.
Yeah, and let's just say they've got all kinds of things, so you can just go and
club atmosphere. Stuff. Yeah, go up there, go hang out,
or just go to planets that have like fully. Like constructed areas and stuff. That
one day, not in our lifetime, maybe if they will colonize Mars to where people can live on Mars. Listen, our planet's not going to last forever.
No, but the problem with that argument, because I've heard a lot of people say that that eventually we're going to need to find a different planet because this one won't last. But the problem with that is
that's something Gary Johnson actually suggested about global warming.
Well, Gary Johnson, we've already established he's an idiot.
Yeah, he said that one of the things he wanted to do is look at motives of how to find other worlds to live on.
All right, well, let me educate Gary Johnson. Let me explain why Gary Johnson's wrong. None of these other planets have what we have. So if we were going to live on one of those planets, we would have to find a whole different way to terraform that planet. And if we had that technology to do that to that planet, we could do it to this.
That's right. The only reason why we are living on this planet is because this planet is perfect for us. Yeah. No other planet can sustain us because it will not meet the criteria of this planet.
Right. And if we can figure out a way to do that to a planet, then we can just do that to ours and fix ours. I don't like Gary Johnson that much.
No,
I kind of was indifferent to him, and then he kind of just became sort of an annoyance. But like as the days go by, I'm just getting further along the line of like really not liking him.
Yeah,
he just really gets to me. I don't know why. It's just
maybe we should send him to another world. I think he's on another world.
Well, did you hear? His running partner over the weekend said that he doesn't think that there's anybody running right now more qualified to be president than Hillary Clinton. His running partner said
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
So it's like, what?
Well, his running mate had to bail him out the other night, when he had to name one. He had that gotcha question moment where he had to name one world leader other than someone in America that he respected. And he was, I guess I'm having an Aleppo moment.
I know, he actually said that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what people see in him.
I don't know. I mean, what they see in him is that he's not Trump or Clinton.
Yeah, but that's such a small bar to pass. I don't think he doesn't. I don't think he deserves a spot yet. Mm-hmm. Maybe he will eventually. He even said, he was quoted saying that he needs to get smarter, which is something you should have done before running for president. Yeah. The fact that he's saying that, I don't know. I'm not counting him out just yet. Maybe in, however many years he'll get better, but he certainly hasn't earned it yet. I don't think. No. I mean, but to be fair, neither has Trump, and he's there.
He's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Do you ever think? Let's get into some deep shit. Okay. Let's get into.
I love getting into deep shit.
Let's get into deep shit. Do you ever think? Do you remember there was that guy in college who had that his own form of religion? And it was that all things in life are made up of one person. So have you ever thought about, like, I saw an interesting video the other day that started with an atom. Uh-huh. What an atom looked like through a microscope, zoomed in, crazy amount. And it started to pull out, and you got to see all the different particles that make up that object. And then it pulled out even more, and then it was like a leaf. And then the leaf pulled out, and it was a tree. And then it was like countryside, and, all this stuff. And it just kept pulling out until it was Earth, the moon, Mars, the asteroid belt, Jupiter, Saturn, all that. And then it pulled out of our galaxy, and then you saw the other galaxies, and you saw that. It's interesting do you ever stop to think, like, where is the outer rim of space? Does it have an end? Because now scientists say that it doesn't have this infinite thing, that there is a point where it does end because it is like consuming itself.
Yeah.
But what is on the outside of that? Is all the galaxies in space a smaller part of a bigger thing?
Yeah. Or it's like the ending of
Men in Black. Yeah, it pulls out and it's like a marble.
And it's like
and
an
alien's playing with it. You know what I mean? So you ever stop and think, like, are we nothing more than something and someone's looking under the microscope at what we are? Or, like, what is on the outside of that? Like, outside of the outer rim of space, is there something else? Is there another space?
Mm-hmm. I've definitely thought about it. I don't think I don't know how we would ever find that out.
I mean, how would you? I mean, you're not. You're trapped in your petri dish, really. Yeah. I mean, does bacteria and fungus ever make it over the rim of their petri dish? You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's a good way to think about things, though, because you do start to see how insignificant everything is.
Yeah.
Not to be like negative or pessimistic. I mean, obviously, things have value, but it does put things into perspective.
We are just one small part of something. I mean, when you look up into the stars at night, every star that you see in the sky has potential planets around it.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That's more than you can count. Mm-hmm. And here we are, just sitting out there.
Yeah.
If somebody if there is another life form out there standing on their planet looking up at the stars, they just see ours.
You think there would be another life form that's intelligent? Because I could give
intelligence.
See, I could give maybe another life form, but I'm talking like just single cell type stuff,
that's
like
tricky.
Bacteria.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too.
I'm not thinking little people.
Little people. I don't think a humanoid.
No, definitely not.
Maybe like a.
Well, not definitely, but probably not.
I think there might be a world out there that has some type of insect.
Yeah.
Or some type of critter that is able to. But you see, the thing is that like
tardigrade can live in space.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that people have wondered if those are from somewhere else.
The Venus flytrap. People have this crazy theory that is actually alien
because of the name Venus.
No, it only grows. It only grows in areas where a meteorite hit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I read that in an X-Files book.
that might be. Would that?
So consider that source. But I mean, that's what I've heard. The places that the places where the Venus flytrap grows was hit by. Meteorites, which is down here in actually North Carolina and South Carolina, and most of the southern states, but it doesn't grow anywhere else in the world naturally.
Mm-hmm. So is it related to anything?
No. And it's like one of the only
carnivorous plants. Yeah.
And so they were saying that one's probably theoretically, most likely, maybe, who the hell knows, from another planet.
I didn't know that. I never
traveled on the.
That's interesting.
Like I said, I read it in an X-Files book.
Yeah, yeah. The reason why I don't know if I'd be so quick to think that is because there is so much like it on Earth already, and I can't really think of too many things that are
had to evolve from something else.
But the tardigrade. I would think that I could believe that being from another planet more than the flytrap, because I can't think of, and maybe there is, I just don't know, but I can't think of anything that's really like the tardigrade. But I can think of plenty of things that are like the Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that's interesting.
Do you think it's a little crazy that we've gotten to the point in life where there are still people who are holding on to the belief that there is no evolution?
I mean,
that's a little crazy.
Well, it's wrong. I don't know if it's crazy. It's to expect it. I mean, there's always going to be people who don't, learn things.
Yeah,
but
see, I know that
I definitely think they're wrong. But it's understandable why someone would not want to advance, because it's a bit safer to just cling on to what you already know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know that. Religion, the whole point to religion is to find out that question of why. Like when you're asking yourself, why is the universe even here? Why are we even here? Why are we even talking? Why do we even have this little microphone on?
Yeah.
Why is this even a thing? Why is outer space even here? Why are the planets here? When you're asking that, I know that religion is supposed to be there to go, well,
here's why. Well, I think why is a fine question for us, but I don't think it's a particularly meaningful question to any of the answers of the actual just physical structure of anything. You know how I feel about it. I'm obviously not a believer.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, I don't know why people need there to be something
that created it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why they need to have a reason that is existing beyond themselves. I think there's plenty of reasons for why we care about the things we care. I think as far as like purpose and people having a purpose to being alive, I think people absolutely do, but I think it's one that they decide for themselves. I don't know why they need it to be prescribed by something otherworldly.
Oh, interesting.
So that's how I feel about it. But I understand why people want that.
Yeah.
It's just a different way of thinking, which, if that's how they want to live their life, then go for it. But I don't think they'll be finding any real answers. Mm-hmm. I think if you do that, you'll constantly be settling for things.
Yeah.
I feel like if you actually tried to figure this stuff out for yourself, you probably find a lot more meaningful things within yourself and within other people.
Interesting. We get into some deep shit tonight.
Yeah, I like this stuff.
I know.
This is kind of stuff that I think about.
I know. You and I have had plenty of conversations on that, and time travel as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I used to have a buddy that we used to talk time travel a lot. He thought time travel was possible, and I used to think that it wasn't, because time is man-made. Time is not a thing. Like, we came up with the concept of time.
Yeah.
So the idea that you can
of it does exist, though.
The passage of time exists, yes, but we gave meaning to that time. So I don't actually think that you can
travel through.
I don't think you can. I don't. And honestly. We used to get into these conversations with him, and I think maybe me and you've even talked about it. If time travel was real, we would already know.
Oh, because someone would come.
Because someone would do it, and so that's why, like, I told him, I said, "No, time travel's not real, because we don't know about it, honestly." Because it seems to me that if time travel was real, we would know about it, that it could be done. Maybe we can't do it now, but we know that it can be done because someone came and done it before. Now, I will say, and he used to say, this was a neat argument, he used to say, well, people say their time travels all the time, we call them crazy. So maybe a time travel has shown up, and we just locked him away. He wasn't able to return to his time.
But like the religion thing, it's people want to believe stuff for no particular reason. There's no reason to believe what he believes, other than he's decided he wants to believe it.
Yeah.
The thing that I've heard about time travel, though, is that in order to do it, you would have to accelerate to the speed of light. And we can't accelerate anything to the speed of light without it decaying.
Yeah.
It would decay before it would ever transfer.
You would not survive the trip.
The closest we've got to is like a fraction of it. And even that's like, as far as we can tell, it's pretty much the same as light.
Yeah.
But that's just our perception. It's like a fraction of it. And once you go further than that, you can't, the structure of whatever you're sending your time would decay. The other thing that I've heard is that the universe and the Earth has a set amount of mass, that it always has that set amount of mass. It It doesn't go back and forth. It doesn't, get low and then get high. It has a set amount.
That's a good thing. Can you imagine what our world would be like if mass was constantly changing?
Yeah. And so when even when something dies or whatever, it breaks down and the mass still stays.
Energy is neither created nor destroyed.
Right. And you can't have, if someone was to travel, like if, say you were to travel back 10 years ago, you would be existing in a time where you exist, and so there would be
more
two
mass.
of you, and it would, you couldn't do it because of the amount of mass. But even if you went before you were alive, it still would upset the mass because whatever you are now, it is mass that has existed for as long as we can tell. So that's another reason why it wouldn't work. You would be completely shifting the mass and you would. I mean, who knows what would happen? Now, that would be a fun thing.
You would kill the space-time continuum.
What would happen? Would everything just collapse? Would it all just disappear? Would it explode?
You would wipe out the entire universe, I think.
Well, I don't think... Well, I guess the answer is nothing.
But the thing is
you can't do it.
If you went back in time... All right, so say you went back in time. Let's throw this into the mix, right? Okay. Let's say if you went back in time, only you...
Yeah.
You go back 30 years. Mm-hmm. Would that mean that you just... killed, and what would happen to, like, if me and you were sitting here, let me try to think about this. This is deep. Let me even try to think about it. If me and you were sitting here, and I time travel from this room right now talking to you, I decide to hit a button and I go back 30 years. Well, what happens to you? Like, does it...
I just sit here and you disappear.
Like, so, like, but, like, for me, going back 30 years...
Yeah.
I mean, like, what happened to everything else? Like, it's crazy. Like,
like you're wondering, did
I just wipe out the
when you go back, does everything go back with you?
Yeah.
Not with the consciousness, though.
Not with the consciousness.
You're conscious of going back, but everything else is just rewind.
Yeah, I would know that I went back.
Okay.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah, because most people...
I would assume you would keep going, but I wouldn't. But if I did something different 30 years ago...
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If I did something completely different 30 years ago, would it change anything of you sitting here in this chair in your reality?
Oh, I mean, who knows? There's
like,
no answer.
This is crazy. Yeah, like I may have stumped myself.
Well, I think it's you're wondering if, like,
all right, for example, we order a pizza.
Yeah.
Okay, we know the pizza man is coming. But I go right before I place that call, and I, like, break the pizza oven while that dude was on his way to bring the pizza to us. But I went back before him, and I did it. So when I disappeared, you went for the pizza.
I see what you're saying.
Did you get the pizza?
So you think time...
Or did I make a new reality?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one theory, is that what you do would
did
break off.
Did I make another line?
Yeah, it would
or
break
did
off
I affect the same line? That's what I would like to know.
So,
like if you and I, let's test this theory. Like you and I are sitting here, we call up a pizza, and then immediately after we call the pizza, okay, and the pizza guy's coming, I hit a button and I leave this room and go back. And then I go in, I break the oven, so he's not able to make the pizza.
But in my timeline, he's on his way.
Yeah, and your timeline is on his way. Now, in your timeline, do you still get the pizza?
The pizza just disappears on the way here.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't be made.
Do you still get the pizza? Or
I think I would.
In my time, or did I create a new line where, I'm just an asshole who just broke a pizza oven?
Yeah. I think you could, it as far as we know, it can't happen. So we could decide what we want.
Theoretically debate on this.
Yeah, I think it could. Well, see, this is interesting because I feel like if this were possible, would it be more likely that you would just create a separate rather than affect something now?
That's something I'm wondering if I wouldn't actually. You couldn't actually go back in time and change anything because I'm wondering, like. Let's say you've always wanted to go back and do something different with that girl you screwed up talking to. Like, if I went back and said everything completely different, I could change things. But could you really, though? Because if you went back, would you just create another line and you wouldn't actually change the thing you were in?
But in that scenario, presumably, you go back, change things, and stay there. You don't change things and then zip back here. You change things and then from that moment...
So you just live in that timeline.
But then how long?
But then that means you've killed. That means you've killed everything. If you stay in that timeline and it doesn't progress and you never go back, that means everything you knew going there and everyone you met, you just wiped out.
I mean, like you, the place you left from would still go, would theoretically, I guess, continue on.
Would it though?
You would just be gone.
Because now time is mine, right? I'm the only guy with the knowledge of the time.
No, but you just went to a different time and then you're stuck there. So now in your timeline, you have said what you wanted to say and stayed there and everything goes good. And then this timeline, we just have to live with the fact that you just disappeared and went to a different time and you're just gone.
That's crazy. But it's almost like, it's almost like that whole thing of like, I know I am alive throughout the day, but when you leave the room and the show is over, what does everything just stop? Until I choose to reactivate it. It'd almost be like if you were time traveling in that line, you would think that like, well, I just wiped out everybody.
Yeah, as far as you know, that's all gone unless you can come back. But also though, you screwed up talking to a girl and then you go back in time. But where's that time's you? Now there's
there'd be two of us because
so
if I go,
the other one?
I'd have to before making that stupid mistake. Talking before myself could say something stupid. Which happens quite often. Before myself could say, I would have to shoot myself or kill myself, whatever, and just so that there would be. But see, I've already screwed things up because there's more mass now.
But see, here's the thing, though.
Especially since I'm kind of chubby, there's a lot more mass.
but now that you
double the mass.
But now that you've thought this, if ever another you shows up, you're gonna think it's to rectify something, and so as the second you see another you're gonna
killing him.
It's gonna be like a fight. Like who dies?
Oh, you're here to do this. I never. I talked about it on the show.
Or would you want to go back and tell yourself to do something correctly,
and then have more confidence,
and then you go back to your time and nothing's changed because that's yours, but now you've created another one, and then
I know my other self is happier than me.
And you can take some solace in knowing that somewhere else there's a better me.
The other little bastard's happier than I am.
I don't know, it's an interesting question, but
I've been all depressed lately, actually. I'd love to
just to go to another time.
Give it a go.
Would you go back or would you go forward? Because I almost certainly would go forward.
I would almost certainly go backward.
Really?
Yeah. Something I knew.
Why?
Because there's so many interesting times in history that I've always read. I love history, and I've read about a lot of different eras, and I've always thought I would like to experience some of that firsthand, see what they saw, and live the way they lived in simpler time. And so the idea of, and plus too, if I go forward, I don't know what I'm going to get. Donald Trump may have killed us all, and I don't know what I'm going to get. So I'm more comfortable knowing that, like, okay, if I go back to this time period, this is what I can expect, and this is the.
But wouldn't you feel like once you lived it, you would leave that thinking, well, that's what I figured it would be? And wouldn't that be a bit disappointing?
Like a bit disappointing. Like this isn't as good as I thought.
Or even if it's as good as you thought.
I missed the PlayStation and the iPod and all that shit.
But even if it's like as good as you thought, you can still be like, well, this is as good as I thought it would be. Like, don't you feel like, well, I kind of assumed it and it was confirmed?
The only reason why I would want to go forward is just to see, actually, to be honest, just to see technological advances. I want to see.
Yeah. Well, I would want to go. I would definitely want to go forward.
I would want to go forward to see where we wind up.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'd
be my only reason for going forward, really, just to see. Well, how does this come out?
Well, I think that would be pretty much the only reason.
But I would see, that's the thing. I would only go forward to see what it was like, but I would want to go back for the experience.
But see, I guess what I'm saying is,
I want to see dinosaur too.
Experiencing the unknown, I feel like, would be far more exhilarating than experiencing something you know about but didn't get to experience.
I guess exhilarating. I can see why it would be exhilarating, but I can also see why. For me, it would be terrifying at the same time. You don't know what you're getting into,
exactly,
But I guess you wouldn't know what you were getting into with the past either. I
think you would. I think that's my main.
I don't know. You can show up and you don't know how to act. You don't know what to do. They think you're a witch. They burn you at the stake.
Yeah, you bring some weapons.
Bring some weapons.
Shoot someone and be like, look.
See, now you've changed Continuum. Now you've brought in something. You've given like another group a weapon.
But you wouldn't change the future. Would you, if you went to the future?
You couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you'd be safer with that. You can't change the future.
Yeah.
Future ain't written yet.
But wouldn't that be... Well, in this scenario, can you come back? Or you've got to choose one or the other and then you're there?
Let's say you got to choose one or the other.
Okay, I'd choose the future. Would you still choose past?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would.
I'd go to the future just because that.
How far ahead would you go? More than your lifetime? Or?
Oh, definitely. I'm talking like 1,000 years.
1,000 years?
Yeah.
I'd go like 100 if I was going.
You know what would suck is if I went 1,000 years and everything was gone. And I was stuck there with nothing.
There with nothing.
Yeah.
You're just on a planet by yourself.
Now that would suck.
Yeah.
I'm more curious about where we're going rather than where we've been. We know where we've been.
These days, as I look at things and I see the new generation coming up, I am not interested in where we're going. I don't think we're going anywhere good, and so I want to go. There's an episode of Star Trek actually where they go to the planet and the planet's about to be consumed by a supernova.
Yeah.
So they go to this planet, Serapedon.
That would suck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about, and they get there to evacuate the people who are on the planet, but they find no life signs on the planet, which is except for like one. So they think that's odd. So they beam down to the planet and they discover a library that has all of this planet's history detailed out in computer programs, and they are able to select one and open a door to that time and go through it. So to escape their future, they all hid in their past. So for me, I look at our future and I see I don't think we're going anywhere fast. So I'm gonna go hide out in a time that I know things are decent.
Well, that's why I would go like way beyond my lifetime.
Oh, just so that like all of that reset, all those people wiped each other out. They're all gone. Maybe things are different.
Yeah, and I mean
new ideas, fresh ideas.
But if you look at the course of history, things do progressively get better.
1,000 years, there might not even be people around. You might be right.
But they might, and I guess
or they'd be completely different.
Yeah, they probably would be different. But what I would be counting on is that we got progressively better, which I think we do already.
We're getting progressively worse.
See, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if statistically that's true, because we are at some of the safest.
There's no statistics in that. That is more of an emotional statement.
Yeah.
I look at things and I say, we are worse than we were, but clearly we're not, because we don't have coliseums or dark ages and things like that. Yeah. We're not that bad off, but I don't think we're also great.
All the groups that we hate are specifically trying to bring us backwards. Like ISIS, these terrorist groups, religious groups, they're all trying to go backwards, and that's the problem. So I feel like if you go far enough forward, I feel like it's got to work itself out. Or I'll fall apart and we're all dead.
Yeah.
One or the other, I guess. But I don't know. I just feel like maybe it's if you're like an optimistic or a pessimistic person. Because I feel like I'm kind of optimistic. I feel like if I went 1,000 years, if someone could tell me you can go 1,000 years and there's definitely people, and they're like, you're not going to be all alone. You're not going to be in this like wasteland. It's definitely people with advanced. I'd go because I feel like it would be better.
I want to go hang out in a malt shop.
So you want to go back to what, like 1930?
Maybe. Well, see, I don't want to go there because the Depression's on. I don't want to live through the Depression.
Right after then?
So maybe right after, but then if I timed it too wrong, I might wind up in World War II, and I don't want to wind up in World War II.
So right after World War II?
That was pretty good. Because that was when the economy was really great.
But you also would know that you're ticking down to where it all goes bad again.
The 60s, civil rights and all that stuff.
So that's why I'm saying
Vietnam.
Go forward. Would you go back there and be like, guys, don't do this stuff?
I would.
Yeah,
I would be like, I would try to, I would try to get into political power, and I could, because I know history, so I know like what I need to do.
Yeah.
And then I could maybe stop Vietnam from happening.
So then would you not go back and stop World War I or II from happening?
You know what I might do? I might go even further back and go maybe like a Civil War or Wild West time.
Oh, that would be horrible.
That would be fun.
I think that would suck.
Living on a farm in a like old country style thing. That'd be kind of neat.
You think so? I feel like you'd get sick of it after a week.
I would.
Yeah. I would hate it. And see, that's another thing. That's another thing. When you go backwards, you have to give up things that you have now. Right. If you go forward, you'll only be gaining things.
Hey, the Roaring 20s, man, that would be awesome. There's nothing wrong with living in the Roaring 20s.
There's definitely periods in time where I think would be cool to go back to. I'm not against it. I just don't think I'd choose it.
Living in like a Great Gatsby type thing.
Yeah. Late 1800s.
Yeah.
Early 1900s, turn of the century.
Yeah, man, you start getting all this industrial stuff. Think of how much fun that must have been for them. They were living for us, the Galaxy 7's coming out, big deal.
Yeah.
But then they had trains and cars and all that stuff for the first time.
Yeah. But
living during the age of the Titanic, man.
But would you go and fix that?
Nah,
You'd let that happen?
Well, I would try to give them a note like, hey, by the way, there's ice out. Might want to slow down.
Someone, apparently, that was like predicted in a book.
Really?
Yeah. That came out a year or two before, I think, where a guy wrote about a book. I think it was called like, it wasn't Titanic, but it was close. It was like Titania or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, the whole premise was like, this ship is unsinkable and it's going to New York and it hits a iceberg and sinks.
Dang.
Yeah. So I don't know.
What are the odds of that?
But that's the thing, like, what if that was you trying to fix it?
Oh, yeah, I wrote a book. Yeah. I wrote a book and no one listened. Yeah, I mean, no, I think that'd be a good time to go back to. It'd be like those like early 1900s, man.
But you like it because of the fresh new ideas.
I do.
And what I'm saying is if you go forward, you'll have really fresh new ideas.
I don't know, man. We'd have like new iPods and new Galaxy 10.
Maybe
like I said, maybe we've made some advances in space technology, but I honestly don't think most people are just interested in going out and finding other planets. I mean, think about it. The majority of the public is not interested in space.
Well, no, but that's also has to do with funding.
Well, Obama cut funding to NASA.
Yeah, I know, but
so I don't think.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the symptoms are nobody is super interested in it.
Yeah.
So you cure what's causing that symptom, and you hopefully bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like in the 60s everyone was so excited about it because we went to the moon for the first time, and now that doesn't even...
Well, I mean, that's just human progression. You try to top yourself.
That's why we need to go to Mars.
Yeah, but see, even with Mars being promised, there's still not a huge interest.
I think there would be the day that someone stepped on that planet. The day I think even the day they left for the planet, there would be news coverage covering the people leaving.
Yeah.
And following for the next 9 months, they would do like a daily check-in of like where they're at.
Yeah.
People would get excited if like 10 people left this planet to go to Mars. You would follow it. Mm-hmm. And then, the day that they landed, it would be a day like we're all glued to our TVs because this is the moment they're reaching Mars. Yeah. They step foot out onto the red planet for the first time, and now we are now people who have gone to another planet.
I think definitely because of the human impact.
It'd be huge. We're not we set foot on our moon. That was a big deal, but now we're setting foot on a completely different planet that was unreachable before.
But when we send like drones and stuff,
I get really excited about that.
Yeah, but that not many people do.
I was hanging out by my computer and phone when that thing was taking pictures of Pluto because I was just wanting to get it all up. And now with Saturn, I'm looking at the stuff with Saturn.
But that's you. It's not in that. Most people aren't super concerned with it. I think they would with humans, though. I think that's the.
That's what I'm saying. With humans, I think if there were physical Americans, who were going out,
they have to be American.
Well, they would be. I mean, if NASA did it, they would be.
Yeah, definitely.
So if they were like American astronauts who were going, and maybe it is a joint mission with the other countries. Maybe we could work. So if it was just humans, Earthlings, going, and now we're the Martians. We always talk about we had text and literature and sci-fi of the Martians coming to Earth. Well, now we're the Martians. We went to Mars, and now we're walking on it.
Yeah.
There's footprints of people that we will be left in the red dust, just like they're still on the moon.
Yeah.
That right there is an exciting thought, isn't it?
It is. I'm somewhat surprised at all of the huge advancements in science and medicine that people don't care about. I remember when I was growing up, And this is just in my lifetime, which is relatively short. And I remember when I was a kid thinking, people talking about like the missing link, how it was going to be a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
We found plenty of them. We have plenty of species that are the in-between, but no one gives a shit about it.
Yeah, like I said, they only care about the new cell phone now.
Yeah.
Or Kim Kardashian getting stood up.
She got robbed, man.
I know. Actually, the security guard thinks that was an inside job.
Really?
Because she's got security around her all the time.
No one was there.
How could they slip it? But yeah, it was a guy wearing a mask and everything. To some people, that's more exciting than the idea. No, really, to a lot of people, that's more exciting than the idea of walking on another planet.
Yeah.
Which, to me, is...
more exciting.
No, the idea of walking on the planet is more exciting than Kim Kardashian.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess that makes me... Well, I guess to them that makes me a nerd. But, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because when we first walked on the moon, were people who were into that considered nerds?
No, because everyone was into that. Like that was like I'm saying, like we don't have moments in life like that anymore. Because from what you read about, it's like every TV in this country, maybe even the world, was on, and they were glued to it as people walked out of the shuttle and set foot on the moon. Yeah. You could go outside that night, look up at the moon, and think there are two dudes up there right now walking around on that thing.
That's pretty cool.
To me, that is the most exciting thing that you could think of. And so, like, well, especially since I've always loved space and whatnot. So, to me, like, the idea of, like, and that's why when the application came out, I wanted to be a part of it. But, like, the idea of hopping on a ship and going to a planet, another planet, that looked unreachable, that you could look up in the sky, you see this little dot.
Yeah.
And the idea of going there and being the first human to ever step foot on that thing.
Yeah.
That would be a major accomplishment.
Yeah, it would.
Of course, you're not coming back.
You're not coming back.
So you won't be able to be like living in the glory when you get back. But
will there be communication, I wonder?
It's a long ways for a signal to travel.
Yeah.
It might be a very delayed thing where we send out a message and like 2 days later you get it.
Could they do like I don't know the range on a satellite, but I wonder if they could do like a series of satellites.
Oh, boost it on. Oh, like drop them out.
Mm-hmm. So like one connects together to the other two.
Looks like the shuttle's taking a poop every now and again. Just drops out a little shuttle. Leaving a trail of breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's fascinating, and I would like to see just how far we go. Do we ever leave the Milky Way? Do we ever get out there? That's that stuff that I am interested in. Especially when we send out probes. Just recently, they sent out a probe that's en route to another planet that is very similar to Earth and has similar conditions, and that through the telescope appears to have water and trees.
Yeah.
They've sent it there, of course. We'll never hear from that probe.
No.
I mean, that probe is out, it's launched, it's on its way.
Yeah.
But we're talking thousands of years.
Yeah.
So we'll actually, the people who sent the probe will never live to see the results.
No, but that's how science is. You've got to set it up for the next people.
Yeah. If I had to go for it, I would love to know the results of that probe. When they finally come in thousands of years from now, they'll be like, hey, that planet's livable. And then they'll set about the next couple of thousands of years trying to get there.
Mm-hmm. We sent that golden record.
Yeah. It had music on it. It had mathematical equations.
It had like a language that apparently like any intelligent life could decipher it.
Yeah, it had a language on there that used numbers and stuff that they could decipher and communicate. And we put a sample of our culture, music, art, all that kind of stuff, who we are, what we're about, on this thing, and just sent it out there.
Do we know where that is?
No, but there's been several Star Trek episodes where like something came across this thing and
changed
it, or like used it and thought about like what it said on there and its kind of mission statement, and looked at it as like revered it as a god or whatever. But like
that's interesting. Yeah. I wonder if, and this is just completely nonsense, but to tie this into the time travel, because we don't know where the gold record is, apparently. What if it went back in time and taught people culture.
So, the same guy I was talking about when we got on the time travel, he actually thought that, and this was always fascinating. I always found this theory fascinating. But he told me once, he said he thinks that the only reason why people have everything that we have now and why we made it as a species is because we went back in time and made sure that it happened. Because he showed me there was these cave drawings and the Mayans that showed stick figures with round globes over their head, they had a ring inside over their head, and he said that looks a lot like an astronaut. So he thought that there was futuristic humans that went back and built the pyramids, showed people how to do all these things, so that would set, of course, the events for us to get to that point. I told him I don't think that could happen because that would mean that we would have had to figure out how to go back first.
That was exactly why I brought that up, because I wanted to delve into it being a paradox.
It is a paradox because his theory was fun, that we went back to make sure that we made it, but for us to go back to make sure we made it. Yeah. And that's what I told him one time, and he I think his head exploded, but paradox, it's a paradox. They're fun. That's what it is.
The thing with that is, again, we see that because we want to.
Oh, yeah, they see that now. It's an astronaut.
Exactly. Or it could just be a stick figure with a circle on his head. That could be anything. That could, we had, halos in our art.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's
we know what that is.
Yeah, and we've got, it's a circle around a stick figure's head. It could have been there to symbolize anything. It could have been there to symbolize a planet, the moon, the sun. Because it's around the head, people want to see that as an astronaut. Yeah. Now, I do know that there have been some drawings of things that look like ships.
Yes.
That's a little bit harder to explain. But still, that's no reason, because it's difficult to explain, that's no reason to then make the jump. It must be a spaceship.
And of course, to keep in, line with the History Channel, this conversation has to somehow get back to aliens. Because ancient aliens. Because the History Channel, it seemed like everything had to do with aliens.
I know. I love how the History Channel is talking about things that we don't know.
I know. The History Channel always brought it back to aliens. But he was a firm believer as well. That it was also possibly aliens that came and got us going. They go around helping people. They see potential in a race, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? Let's give these guys a hand up."
But all that does is bring us even further backwards, because then we need to figure out what these are, what the aliens are, where the aliens come from.
Maybe we're all working towards that point where we can go out and meet the aliens again who made us. Maybe they're just kind of sitting by. I don't know if I necessarily. I'll tell you what. I'll be honest. I believe that there could be another living creature out there, but I don't think they're flying around in ships.
No,
I just want to go ahead and lay the groundwork. Anyone listening, I do not believe that there are little green men flying around in ships. Well, I'm just saying, for the sake of this thing, maybe they're just hiding out there somewhere, going, "Well, we'll wait for them until the day they come get us. We'll be ready."
Well, the thing that always confused me is they have the technology to come from a different galaxy.
Yes,
and remain hidden.
That's one thing that I always wonder.
They have all this amazing technology, but they can't assess what a life form is without abducting it, draining its blood.
No, they travel all that way.
Yeah, it seems ridiculous.
Well, another thing I always wonder, in the UFO stories, I don't know why out of all the people that they could experiment on, they always go for the people who are living out in the middle of nowhere in trailers.
Yeah, well, it's the same. I could make the same argument for religion. How come the only people God spoke to were some of the most illiterate people
I know.
in that time?
Why didn't he talk to actual smart, or why didn't the aliens want to talk to the leaders of the government? So, wouldn't that what you would do? If you went to a place, you'd be like, "So I'm here. Who is the head guy of you? Let me talk to him. I want to talk to that guy.
Yeah.
Don't give me your lowest life form. Right. Give me your best one. I want to, because if you go to someplace new, whenever you walk in, you want to see all right, who's in charge?
Who's in charge? You want to get out of business.
Who's in charge?
Yeah, you don't want to screw. It's like when you've got some issue at like a store. You don't want to talk to the clerk. You want to talk to the manager.
You want to talk to the manager.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you'd be the same way if you traveled thousands of miles and you landed on a planet, and all these people came up to you, all these aliens came up to you. You'd be like, all right, so who among you is in charge here? Well, let's meet.
The thing that I always found interesting about like ships in general is the concept of a spaceship was something that somebody created and drew. It didn't exist. It did not exist until somebody created it.
Yeah.
But now everybody sees that. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's kind of like, okay, they just happen to have something that looks exactly like what some fiction writer or fiction artist created. You know, it's like this. You can travel back. You can connect the dots and see when these concepts started to come
saucer.
Out. Exactly. And then once that's out, that's what everybody sees. It's the same thing with ghosts. How come you don't ever see ghosts of like cavemen? You don't ever see ghosts of people from like thousands. It's always people like around like the Victorian era. It's always people like only a couple hundreds of years ago.
Maybe that energy's burned out.
You think so?
Maybe. I believe in ghosts.
I can't go there.
Hey, look, you know my EVPs.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you that. It's weird, but I just can't. I can't go there.
I do.
It's the same thing with me. It's like it's just Occam's razor, you know. Mm. Yeah, I don't know if you know about.
I'm not familiar.
It's just that it's a concept that when you don't know something, the path that takes the least amount of assumptions is usually the right one. So that's kind of how I go with just about everything that's supernatural or metaphysical. I just go with what's more likely that a ghost exists, is staying somewhere and wants to communicate and can only do it via certain methods, or is it more likely that we got some weird noise that sounds weird?
You know what I think we should start doing on the show? I think we should start, and I was talking to Ariana about this a little bit yesterday, I think we should start going around looking for these mythical creatures.
That would become cryptozoologists.
Yeah, just for the show.
Hell yeah.
Every once a month we need to do like a cryptozoology hunt. Yeah, and I told her, I said, and for the first episode we need to go in the woods and we could look for Bigfoot.
Yeah, we got to do that call.
Yeah.
That Oh man.
I told her, I said, that's what we need to do. We need to once a month we need to go looking for something that the world says doesn't exist, and we three go out looking for it.
Here's what we do. Ariana gets the cage. You get the rabbit. I'll pick up some glow sticks. We pretty much got a Sasquatch.
I was about to say, we got a Sasquatch trap now, you know? Yeah, we'll set this thing. We'll catch us a Squatch.
Yeah. There's a Squatch in these woods.
I feel confident that we can catch a Squatch and put it on YouTube. I feel confident.
It's like, how many times are they going to make Bigfoot shows where they don't find Bigfoot before they just stop making Bigfoot?
I mean, that show went off the air and they never caught Bigfoot. It? Yeah, that show. I don't think that show's still on there.
Well, there was a couple different versions of it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Ghost Adventures is still on, although I do believe in ghosts, and I think they catch ghosts quite often.
Yeah, I've seen a few of that. The Ghost Adventures, I always like the first half.
The first half of the show is way better. Yeah,
the second half is just
stupid. Even I don't like the bits where they're just roaming around in the dark with the night vision camera.
Yeah, just like calling out.
Is anyone there? Did anyone hear that? And you never hear what they hear.
No.
And you go, oh my god, did y'all guys hear that? And everybody at home is like, no.
No, we didn't.
Like, no, we didn't.
We didn't. And then the thing about that, something, it's like, okay, it's a show. It's very, we did it. We made we made a fake episode. It's not hard to do, guys.
We did. We made one episode where we knew we didn't have anything we could do for this one episode.
Yeah.
We just didn't have any material, and nothing was happening.
No.
So we decided that we were going to create this one because we had to have an episode.
Yeah, I like to state that I'm almost certain that episode never went on.
No, it never aired. It never aired. I mean, because even our episode was we just couldn't do it.
Well, I think back to it every now and then, and I wonder why did we go so heavy with it? We could have, we did, a couple different weird things.
Yeah, we did.
One weird thing would have been enough.
It would have been. Because we could have downplayed. I don't know why. We felt like we needed to put a lot of crap in it. Man.
Yeah. And
I don't know why we, tried to make that our best episode. Because clearly...
the last one, it was for a grade.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. We had to come up with an episode. We weren't finding enough locations.
No,
we had that.
Everybody was against helping us.
Yeah,
I understand that. They were like, "Oh, we don't want that kind of publicity." It's like, why? People love that kind of stuff.
I thought our best episode, was the one we did out in the railroad track. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
That was a pretty good one.
We found that dude who came up and talked.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what actually went into the episode.
Well, there was that. We put him on, and we cut that weird sound.
Yeah, we got that weird little
laugh.
There was like a little gremlin laugh.
Gremlin laugh.
But again, I don't
know what that was. That may have
probably
been
a zipper or something.
Yeah, it may have been a blip in the audio or whatever. But
we were unzipping all kinds of camera bags.
Yeah, I remember the cockroaches crawling all over us. I remember that.
I remember the one flying in your mouth while you're trying to talk.
I know.
Yeah.
But there was one night where Grant saw this guy walking down the railroad track, stop, look in our direction, and then he just vanished.
Yeah, and when people tell me these stories, it's like, I'm willing to believe that someone thinks that's what happened. I'm just not willing to believe that's what happened. I'm not. I don't think
your mind plays tricks on you.
Well, yeah, and I don't. It's not that I think all these. Although I do think a lot.
I'm telling you though, man. I used to be like you, man. I swear, I did not believe in it. And then there was that one day in that vet's office.
Yeah. See, and I heard that, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll completely give it to you. That sounds creepy. It sounds like."
But I heard the one.
But I still don't.
I heard the voice that ran me out of the building.
I didn't hear that. I just heard you on the audio going, "Oh shit," and running away.
Oh God! I swear to God, every time I go in there, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, but that's because you're going in thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know, especially with those dogs. I mean, I've heard those dogs make some horrifying sounds.
Yeah, it may have been a dog.
Could have been.
I don't know.
You got a little voice saying what was it saying? It was
hello. No, it said okay.
A little kid or a little.
Because it answered a question I asked. I said, it responded to something I said. I said, hey, if you want to communicate, I have this digital recorder. I'm going to leave it right here. Just say something to it. And as soon as I quit talking, the thing says, okay.
Yeah.
That's what was crazy. Yeah, it's not minutes later. That thing answered me.
Yeah, and I'll give you that's what it sounds like, and I'll give you that's creepy. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but what I can't give you is that it's a dead human who somehow their consciousness has survived death, stuck somewhere, and is communicating via recording. That's just where I can't go.
It responded to me.
It sounds like it did. Whatever noise that was sounded like it said okay, and it sounded like it responded to you. I'm giving you all of that. I just can't give you that. I think it was a soul.
A soul
that hasn't. The soul itself is not. That's a concept someone came up with. You can't prove a soul. Because when people talk about souls, they're almost certainly referring to their personalities, which is just something inside of the brain.
That's what used to grind my gears about, they used to say that animals in church, in Sunday school, they used to say that we were the only ones with souls, that animals didn't have a soul. And I was like, well, I don't even know if we have a soul.
Yeah.
You're talking about your consciousness. Yeah, what you're talking about. That's your soul, right? Yeah. That's what when you're talking about a soul, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as we know, the soul is, like you said, it's your personality, your consciousness. The cat that I have, that some bitch outside his door, that dude has a personality, and if that's what we're talking about, then that cat has a soul. It's not a good one, but he has one.
That's what they're talking about in Christianity and in most, Abrahamic religions. But if you go to more Hinduism, believes in souls, but they don't believe in it as being a conscious part of you that thinks. It's just an essence, and when you die, that essence of life leaves and goes into something else. But it's a very Western religion concept that the soul is the personality.
Yeah.
Not every religion has that, but most of the popular ones like Christianity, Islam. I mean, that's where you're getting that from.
Yeah.
So as far as we know, growing up here in the U.S., soul for us has always been just your personality. Your consciousness.
Oh, yeah, there's no such thing as a soul.
No, I mean...
Not in the terms of those. I don't think there's such thing.
That it's... Yeah, I mean, people think that it survives death. That some aspect of you survives death.
I think it's energy.
I mean, yeah,
I think it's energy. We were talking about how energy can't be destroyed, and I think that some of the energy leaves a residual trace, a print
Yeah, but everything would have that then.
So yeah, I guess it would depend on the state of death, the heightened energy.
I mean, but energy is energy, and matter is matter. So, like an animal that dies would have that same.
I'll tell you this. I remember, you ever felt this at night? I don't know if you ever felt this. I know I did. After Derby died, our dog, there would be times at night when I'd be laying there and I would feel imprints of paws walking up the bed.
Yeah.
I would feel that.
I feel like that can be explained, though. I feel like that is...
Is that like muscle memory?
Sort of. It's like, I feel like that's somewhat similar to...
I felt these impressions in the...
Sometimes people will have their phone in their pocket and swear that it vibrated and pull it out and they didn't have a call or a text or anything. And it's an actual, like, studied thing that there is some sort of muscle type thing where something in your brain essentially just misfires and you sense something that isn't there.
Yeah.
It's like deja vu.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of people think deja vu is like, oh, this happened.
Oh, like, you have those moments like, God, I swear I feel like I've done that before.
Yeah, and they're like, what is this? I don't understand. This isn't explainable. And it's like, well, it has been explained.
Isn't it when it's when the agents in the Matrix are about to appear?
That's exactly.
You see the cat twice, you know the Agent Smith's about to show up and whoop your ass.
Yeah,
you better get back.
No, it's the way I understand it, and this is a very like, base understanding of it. But basically, it's just sort of like a misfiring in your brain, where the way your brain interprets time, it's sort of like filed. It's in a certain order. And essentially what happens is when you experience something for the first time and you experience something that's happened, memory, there's two separate kinds of feelings. And what deja vu is that basically your brain, for whatever reason, takes something that just happened and files it in the past, sort of, so to speak. And so you're seeing something for the first time, but experiencing it as if it was
a memory.
Yeah, and that's all that is. It's just an anomaly in the brain.
Fascinating.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm not one of those people who's like, there's a known explanation for everything. That I'm more than happy to say I don't know something, but you
feel like there is an explanation for it. You're not just going to say, I don't know it, it must be this.
Exactly. I'm never going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure everything has some explanation, even if we don't know it. And I feel like...
everything on this planet has an explanation, so I guess that would only logically mean that everything in the known universe has an explanation. And including the existence for the known universe would have an explanation.
But the frustrating thing is when people think they've got it, when they don't, all that does is inhibit any kind of progress.
You're exactly right, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. And
but you still believe in ghosts?
I believe in. Well, I do, because I feel like I've seen that.
Well, and that's another thing. I guess
seeing is also believing.
But I think I would also, just to put out there, so people don't think I'm an asshole. I'm completely fine with people thinking that. I'm not one of those people who's going to be like, no, you're wrong. If someone feels that, go for it. If you think, it's just I can't take those steps.
Plus, too, I always want to be a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
So, that'd be nice.
I'll say if all that stuff did exist, that would be awesome.
I don't think it would.
I wouldn't be against it. I
didn't sleep for 2 weeks after that.
But isn't that exciting, though?
No.
You don't think so? Thinking like, oh, man, there's something beyond everything.
A little bit. Well, it made me think of like, okay, so what does that mean? Like after I heard the voice, I remember getting scared. My hair stood up because I didn't know I'd actually gotten that voice until I listened back to the playback. So when I listened back,
you heard one though, right?
I heard the one with my own ears.
Yeah, but you didn't hear the other one.
No.
See, that would have been freaky. So you hear the one that you hear with your ears, and then it freaks you out, and then later on you're trying to find that, and you find something else.
I find something else.
It's like a whole.
So that's when I knew. That's when I had to step back for a moment, and then I had thought to myself, because I had heard that I was kind of excited by the idea of the ghost, and I had been watching these ghost shows, and I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was real. So then I had to take a step back and think that, like, what have I found here?
Like, you may have just like done something
accidentally.
You really don't.
Yeah, I felt like I accidentally did something I really didn't want to do. So I was thinking
like stuck on you.
Yeah. So I was thinking like, okay. So after that, I convinced myself that I wasn't crazy and that I was hearing these things and seeing these things, and I was looking at the waveforms of everything, and I was checking it out, and then I got to thinking, okay, so what does that now mean?
Yeah,
and I guess
it was there. Like the sounds you heard
were there. That's what I'm saying. The sounds were there. You've even heard the sounds.
Definitely.
So then now my question, and still my question is what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like if that is evidence of a ghost, then what does that mean for us after death?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we just walking around and we can communicate with the living who are walking around? Like what does that mean?
Well, and like when I watched the Ghost Adventure or whatever it was shows, they'd find stuff that it's like, oh, this happened back in like 1940, and this guy murdered all these people, and I was stuck in this house. If that's real, what a horrible thing to experience. Like, I mean, yeah. I would rather just not exist than exist, but be stuck somewhere, watching the passage of time.
Over and over and over again?
Yeah, just constantly seeing everything advance while I just stay stuck there. That'd be horrible. I'm glad that stuff's probably not true, because that would be
awful.
Horrible.
That would be awful.
Now, if it's like, I mean, I don't know, the example I gave was the dude who, like, there was the guy who murdered all those people with an
axe house.
I guess if it's all true, maybe you could think, well, he was horrible, so maybe
that's a good form of hell.
Maybe, yeah. But if that was just something that happened to everybody who died, they just got stuck wherever they died, that would be horrible.
Or maybe it's like a plane where that event is playing out over and over and over again, and we just get glimpses into it. Well, other dimensions and other times, maybe like there's something so traumatic that happened there that the time of that event is on repeat, because there's so much bad energy connected with it that it's just playing itself out, and now we are able to see part of that riff.
It could, but the thing
that's getting into some crazy stuff too.
The way I would counter that though is
swear we're not smoking weed tonight. We're just talking. Ariana's not here to keep us in check.
Really, so we're just kind of going. We're just going. My counter to that would be that I can't imagine time and existence and just everything caring at all, but even if it did, I can't imagine it caring enough to repeat that. So, like, if something really traumatic happens,
well, it's not like time cares, but maybe something happened.
But but you said it something traumatic happened, but it's traumatic to humans, and I think in the larger scheme of things, what we feel is completely irrelevant to reality and time.
Oh yeah, because even I said earlier in the show that time is something we make up.
But also, like, think about, okay, so say this guy slaughters these people and it's horrible and it's really traumatic. Mm-hmm. A wolf going into some, like, den of foxes and tearing apart is probably really traumatic to the foxes. But we don't think, oh, well, maybe there's some thing that's going to stick there because of that, because it's just nature.
That's true. I mean, we're part of nature.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that argument that I just made makes it almost sound like the humans and animals are two different things.
I think a lot of people do. I think this.
They do make that
get back to religion, but I think that right there is where a lot of that comes from.
Yeah, because we're a higher mind.
Yeah, that's all. That's all
that is. We think we're
developed.
Yeah, we are humans and they are not.
Yeah,
but when you think about it, well, I mean, but when you think about it, like we're all the same anyway.
I mean, we're all animals.
Yeah,
and we certainly don't have.
We are
over it.
Human.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But like, we're all the creatures anyway.
Yeah,
the human is an animal.
Yeah,
people just don't want to think of themselves as animals.
Yeah, but I again, like, I don't see why that's such a horrible thing. We're a higher intelligence animal.
Yeah, it's not a horrible thing.
But a lot of people are like, in the beginning you were talking about people who don't believe in evolution. I've heard a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm not related to an ape. And it's like they say it with such scorn.
I'm not related to an ape. Well, Have you ever gone to the zoo and watched one before? Like it's actually
almost eerie.
It is eerie. It's almost like I don't think they should be behind the glass.
No, it's very it's weird seeing some like obviously not as complex as our brains are, but too complex to just be staring at it.
Yeah.
You look at like birds and you think, okay, whatever. You look at like apes and gorillas and stuff, and you're looking at them, and it's like it's a little too close. And when they like,
what did
the creepiest part is when they just look at you, and it's like, what is going on with their brain?
What did it for me is there was one time I was at the zoo, which by the way I no longer like zoos.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Because of this, or just the treatment of the animals? I think zoos treat them.
Zoos treat them fine. Yeah. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and watching stuff on animals in zoos, and animals, even though they're protected and kept well, they're still stuck behind this glass, and the animals need to be free.
Oh, definitely.
But
those like sanctuaries are great.
Sanctuaries are good. Yeah,
lots of land for them.
But just for people walking around, staring at them all day long, making noises, and like selling merchandise for them to go and just look at these things behind glass all day long, sitting in the same enclosure day after day after day.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right.
Maybe not, but then at the same time, what would they be doing in the wild? I mean, I'm not defending it. I'm just open. This is just an open question. Wouldn't in the wild, they would just kind of find some place.
I saw...
If they can survive, they stay, wouldn't they?
Well, there was a video recently where they had a lion... I'm glad you asked. They had a lion go up to a glass, and it was kind of like walking around its enclosure, and it had a graphic on there saying that, the lion can run this amount of speed... and it chases and it hunts and it runs through the plains of Africa. Yeah. But this lion doesn't, because he lives in a cage this size and he can't run like that and he can't do that.
I get that, because the biology demands certain behaviors that can't.
It was like the polar bear, that one polar bear that got real depressed too, because it just... they're not able to live.
Yeah. I guess it depends on the animal, because some animals seem to do all right. But then again, it's hard to know because I'm just seeing it for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So it's just my perception. But like penguins, you ever see like...
Do you ever see a sad penguin in a zoo?
No.
I don't think I do.
They all just seem like they're having fun, like swimming around and stuff. Because they usually get pretty big...
well, see, I think it might be the more...
Closures, but...
Well, it seems like the animals that struggle the most are more like the mammals.
The predators.
The predators. They struggle the most because it seems like, they do want to hunt.
Yeah.
They don't want to be... It's like Alan Grant says in Jurassic Park, T-Rex doesn't want to be fed, he wants to hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are like really like base primal instincts that can't be suppressed. You can put them in a situation where they can't really express it, but you're not really suppressing the urge.
Of course, me in my normal life, I don't want to hunt. I want to go to Subway and order a sub.
Humans...
And that's my form of hunting. I'm going foraging for food. I'm going out and looking at a menu.
But humans were like foragers.
Yeah, we hunted.
We did hunt, but like the whole concept of what we are and were...
Go around looking for food.
We weren't...
hey, look, that looks good. Let's eat it.
Yeah, well, because I was going to say we weren't predators, but I guess we kind of were because we were killing things. But our brain allowed us to be able to manipulate tools. And so the whole concept of what we were doing changed drastically.
Yeah. But as I was saying, I was looking at a gorilla behind the glass, and I noticed that he was sitting there just looking at his palm and moving his fingers around and kind of just messing with his palm. And I thought... I've done that before when I was bored. Like, I was just sitting there, and you'll just kind of, like, look at your hand, and you just kind of, like, just kind of look at it, like, when you're kind of just, I don't know why, but, like, I noticed that he was doing that. He was just sitting over there just...
doing things that we do.
Yeah, and he would, like, look at his nails, and he was looking at them, like, I've done that. Like, you're just sitting there, you just, like, look at something, and you're like, hand. Moving.
Well, how bored must you have been to have that moment? Probably pretty bored.
I was bored.
So you can only imagine what he's going through.
Yeah, he's just thinking...
he's probably doing it out of boredom.
Yeah, because all he's probably thinking is about, like, they're going to feed me apples at 3.
Yeah. Well,
I just got to wait till 3.
I saw one...
apples.
Apples?
I saw them eating an apple.
Oh, okay.
So, like, green apples. So I figured that most of them probably just sit around and going, well, when the sun's over in that direction, they usually come out here with apples. We'll just sit around and wait.
This is getting really off topic.
There's more stupid kids looking at me.
But I hate apples.
You hate apples?
Yeah. I didn't think I did until recently.
Hey, do this. This is a snack. It was a snack of choice.
Yeah.
I love this. Take green apples and caramel and cut them up and dip them in the caramel.
That's okay. But whenever I eat an apple, it's always like I don't eat them often, so it's sort of like I'm in the mood for an apple. So it's like some apple anticipation.
Because I've never been in the mood for an apple.
Well, it's not.
I like apples.
It's not a strong mood, but it's like I'll go get an apple, and then I almost always end thinking, God, that was so disappointing. It's one of the most disappointing.
Isn't there like a chemical in an apple that makes you hungrier anyway?
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's like a wasted fruit.
Yeah, it makes you want to eat. Yeah. People who eat those like to diet.
Yeah,
I guess
that's not a good idea.
Chemically, it could be sabotaging. But I just like it's such a waste of a fruit. It's such a bland fruit.
It sucks.
See, I'm turning you on to my side.
It does suck. But I do enjoy eating them. I'll eat them. I'm not saying that I'm sitting around going, apples.
Well, I don't sit here and hate on apples. But when I do eat an apple, every time I end thinking, God, fuck that apple.
Fuck that apple. You know what I do love? I love oranges.
Oranges are good. You know what annoys me is bananas.
I don't even fool with bananas.
I like bananas, but
that's the worst.
I almost
because you can only when you buy a banana, you're guaranteed only one of them, and the thing you buy is worth a damn. And you've only got one day to eat it.
I've had so many bananas where
you peel it and you're like, I'm not eating this.
Exactly, it's completely like perfect.
Yeah,
and then you peel it and it's like all this bruising and shit, and it's like, what happened to this banana? Yeah. I don't get it's
no F bananas. Bananas are not something I eat. I don't eat bananas. I don't know how I'm getting my potassium, but it ain't coming from bananas.
I had a banana stuck in my throat for like an hour last night.
What?
Yeah. I didn't get much sleep last night because I ate a banana and it got stuck in my throat for like about an hour.
You had to wait for it to digest.
Yeah, it just was going out slowly. Yeah, I don't know if you know about that. I had that issue with my throat. You don't know that? Oh, I had like an esophagus that my esophagus was like super, super small. I wonder if I've got the pictures. I can show them to you because it was like when I had to get it dilated and they showed me what mine looked like and what a normal one looked like. Normal one, like say it's like about this. Mine was like that.
Jeez.
I could barely get anything into it. So I got that dilated, but I haven't had any issues. But like last night, man.
You ate a banana and you just couldn't.
It just like it got stuck in my throat. It's like the worst feeling because it's not in my airway, so I can breathe. Mm-hmm. So it's like choking.
It just feels like a lump.
Well, it's like choking, but you can breathe. It's like almost like simulated choking.
Oh my God.
It was horrible.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I'm glad that
it finally went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Well, I had a fishbone caught in my throat.
Yeah, I remember you telling me
that was awful.
Get that out. That would freak me out because
while I was asleep. Yeah, it was painful.
Yeah.
While I was asleep, the throat relaxed.
Yeah.
And it fell out.
God, that sucks.
But I was doing everything. I was making myself vomit, and
it doesn't work. Sometimes
I couldn't do it. But that's what it took.
Yeah,
but the presidential debate is tonight. That's coming.
Speaking of vomit,
speaking of vomit, the vice presidential debate, not the presidential, but the vice presidential debate coming up. So
one and only.
Yeah, so we'll probably talk about that next week after we watch it.
Yeah, I feel like they had. I feel like there was more before. Like Latin. I don't remember if it was. They might have just had one.
I don't remember the vice presidents debating too much either.
I feel like
did Palin ever debate?
Yeah. She debated Biden. I feel like they did it more than once, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah, so we've only got the one. I don't think anyone's
going to watch clips from that Palin Biden debate.
You should. It's definitely. I mean, all that stuff is documented. It's worth watching.
I think I will.
That was God. What a show.
What a show.
Palin.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. Do we want to make any predictions before we finish? I don't really have.
I actually think I don't either. I'm worried about Tim Kaine.
I kind of am too. I think
Pence is actually probably pretty brilliant.
I feel like Pence is gonna not look super bad. I feel like Kaine's gonna mostly come at him with the taxes after everything that's just happened with Trump and his taxes, and then probably about how anti-gay.
Yeah, Pence is very conservative
to the point of like doing nonsense like pseudoscience, trying to like pray the gay away and get conversion therapy.
I would hit him with that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this one's going to be kind of boring because it's going to be legit.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it ain't going to be like last week.
Well, and also, I guess I just realized, but before we do our next show, the second presidential one is going to happen as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's going to be Sunday, right?
That's right, it is. So we'll have that to talk about on the show next week.
So what are you thinking about that? Do you think he's going to study?
Yes, I think he's been... Well...
It's going to be different because it's going to be the town hall, so they're going to be fielding questions from people, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Just it's not going to be...
Yeah,
I mean, I think there'll be a moderator.
It'll be a moderator to keep things on track, but the questions will come from the audience.
Yeah.
I think Trump's gonna... I think he's gonna study, but I think he will fall apart.
You think so?
I don't think he can keep it together. I honestly just don't think he can keep it together.
No,
He can't be an adult for too long. That's what I think. I think he will go out there. He will study.
Uh-huh.
He will know more than he did before, but I don't think he'll keep it together. I think someone will field a question or he'll start blabbering in a town hall because a town hall, he can walk around and he can talk.
That's why I think he's going to fail too.
Yeah, and I think as he just gets talking...
He's just going to say something.
He's going to say something.
He gets off topic, and that's when he gets in trouble. He did it just... yesterday, today, when he's talking about the vets. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, he said that the vets with the PTSD are the weak ones.
Yeah, I think he said the ones who don't get it are strong.
Yeah,
So the implication is that those who do are weak. What's your thought on that?
That is just not accurate.
No, it's not accurate. But do you think by saying that the ones... He was talking to a group of them, and he was saying... if you guys are strong, so you may not have dealt with that. Do you feel like him saying that was him saying that the weak ones do? Because I hate defending him.
I don't know if he actually meant it that way. Yeah, I don't know if he meant it that way. I would hope that he did not think that soldiers with PTSD are weak.
But that's kind of what Clinton's running with. And I kind of wish she wouldn't, because I actually disagree. I think a much better point she could make is that he clearly isn't a courteous, thoughtful person when he speaks. Yeah. And he's speaking to people and he's saying things off the cuff, and he needs to, if he really wants to be a leader, he's got to be thoughtful of other people. I feel like if she went on him like that, that'd be such a valid point. But if she's going to say, oh, he obviously doesn't think too much about the ones with PTSD, he thinks they're weak, I feel like that's kind of a bullshit point to make. You could definitely infer that, and I completely understand if someone with PTSD did take offense to that.
But someone did.
Oh, did they?
There was vets tweeting saying that I fought this long and I went through this battle and I saw my friends die, and yes, I'm diagnosed with PTSD. I guess it's just because I'm weak.
See, I think that's a completely valid way to feel offended, because I feel like who could even begin to understand that? So if someone's offended by it, I think without a doubt they should be. I think that's valid, but I feel like he was more just running his mouth, not thinking about what he was saying, and being inconsiderate without even trying to be inconsiderate, which could in some ways be worse. I feel like that would be a much better attack from the Clintons to say that than to be like, well, maybe he just...
Well,
I don't know.
We'll have a lot to talk about on the show next week then because of the debate. So we'll wrap it up here, and we'll actually go and get ready to watch the vice presidential debate and see how that goes. And hope you guys enjoyed the deep talk tonight. I hope you got your science in. And
I didn't offend anybody. These are subjects that can...
these are subjects that can depend. I hope we didn't explode any minds either.
I hope we did.
Paradox.
I hope we did.
Maybe we did. But anyway, thanks for listening this week. We'll see you back here next week with all the debate wrap up. So I'm Justin.
I'm Ross.
Take it easy.